This is Dusk for Dustin on Gaming, starting a longer stream today. So, last couple of days I've been working on basically what was my finals week. I have 2 half semesters this semester, the way my schedule lined up, and the first half had 2 classes, so most of that was spent, this last couple of days was spent working on finals and working on papers and such. So, and I wanted to try a little bit of a new approach to streaming. Previously, I've just kind of streamed here and there where I can. Like maybe a short stream here, a long stream there. Not really any consistency to the schedule. Not really any, anything in particular going on. So what I'm going to try from now on is on my mornings off, I'm going to try a stream from like 6:30 to like noon, 12:30, 2 days a week, and then on Wednesday evenings also stream, see how that goes. Those streams will be primarily Magic. I might do some other streaming stuff or some other recordings here or there, like small bits of stuff, or like when I can get on like I had been previously, but the plan for now is to try to make more of a concerted effort to have kind of a somewhat consistent schedule. I mean, obviously, work days off kind of change here and there, but at least I'll be streaming in the mornings 2 days a week, and then one evening pretty much guaranteed per week. So this particular list is from Janshesvik, one of our viewers. It's a mono white, sort of aggro, sort of mid-range Lifegain strategy. You have a Lifegain sub-theme with things like a Johnny's Pridemate, things like Leon and Vanguard, things like Hunt and Witness, Healer, Hawk, Legion's Landing, Fountain of Renewal. This helps you get your Johnny's Pridemates out of range of burn spells and such pretty quickly. This can be a large card in the deck, and you also have a sub-theme with Dawn of Hope, so every time you gain life you can pay 2. So this kind of in some ways sort of becomes a Mentor of the Meek kind of esque effect. Allows you basically every time you gain life to draw a card, only enchantments are a little bit harder to kill. You don't necessarily have to sink the 4 mana in to start getting the life gain effect like some decks do, like control decks and such, who are trying to use this as a pseudo finisher. And then beyond that, you've got Benlish Marshal to kind of pump up the various bets of your team. Resplendent Angel here obviously is a threat on its own that can be difficult to deal with. Ixalan's Binding, kind of your main removal in the deck to remove certain cards permanently. Johnny, Adversary of Tyrants, works very nicely with all the 2 mana creature, all the 2 toughness 2 cost creatures in your deck. Also can be a win con on its own with the ultimate. Life gain also works with the deck. And then one of Lyra here at the top end, kind of close everything else out. Land base, 22 planes, 1 Field of Ruin. Deck feels a little light on removal. We'll see how it plays out. I know there was a mono white aggro deck that started popping up in this past weekend's PTQ. Really haven't had a chance to look at like the differences between those lists and this one, but this is a list Jan submitted like a week ago, so keep that in mind. Sideboard got a bunch of removal, a bunch of sweepers and such, a couple more big bombs to bring in. Got Shield Mirror to bring in against Mono Red, although I suspect Mono Red should be a pretty decent matchup already. Another Dawn of Hope for grinding matchups. You've got Shalai for matchups where there's burn. Excuse me, or you fear your opponent might be bringing in Settle the Wreckage. Another copy of Lyra when you use the top end. Cleansing Nova here as a sort of sweeper. A couple things in this list I'll point out later that I don't necessarily like, or other things that might be tried out, but we're going to go ahead and play some matches before I start saying what cards might be better and what cards might not be. So, hope everyone's having a good morning. Apologize for my stuffy nose. I'm going to blow it here in a second, so I'll shut off the mic. Sorry about that. I have a bit of a runny nose issue first thing in the morning. I already blew it before I logged on, but you know how that goes. Missed the automatic tapper on Arena when going through this kind of stuff. Auto tapper is life. Let's see if our red opponent scoops up. They don't yet. Ah, some type of Boros deck, it looks like. So I guess we run out Angel here. Don't really want Marshall getting caught up in a blast radius here, because there's a decent chance with playing Treasure Map they could have Deafening Clarion in their deck. It feels like a Deafening Clarion turn. Interesting. Let's get a Johnny down, get some of our stuff out of range of our opponent having a Deafening Clarion isn't out. Not sure what our opponent's strategy is, but it looks interesting. Some type of angels with Blackblade Reforged as a kind of a top end here. Gold Forged Garrison. Huh, interesting. Could draw a card. Yes, I'd like to draw a card. Deck is capable of some incredible starts when no one's interacting with it, but this is standard. Very few people don't interact with stuff. Oh, right. Should have played around Settle the Wreckage. Should have figured our opponent had controlling cards in their deck, why they hadn't scooped yet. Get fire to a Johnny, sure. Definitely should have won this game if I would have played around Settle the Wreckage. Important trick to remember. You have another Settle? Sure. Interesting timing to draw a card. Definitely should have made a second soldier there on end step. Still like to know what the purpose of this one is. Present lethal again. Do you have another search for sell the wreckage? Alright, opponent's pretty good at drawing settles. It's about the only takeaway we can get from this game. Fire to Johnny here. And finally, get to present lethal to our opponent. Definitely want this Shalai in our deck. Dawn of Hope definitely overperformed. Beyond that, what do we want? Probably get one or two Fountain of Renewals out. Some consideration for Invoke the Divine, but don't really think that's the kind of matchup we're playing here. Let's get Lyra out. Vanguard, well, Healer's Hawk into Vanguard into, sure. Vanguard isn't quite as good when your opponent's sweeper is Settle the Wreckage, but having our 1-0 Shalai feels pretty good. Wonder if they have Clarion in their deck too. Yeah, thanks Isabel. How are you this morning? Fountain of Renewal. I'm doing alright. Not gonna throw Resplendent Angel out there in case our opponent does have Clarion. Just gonna set up to draw some cards. It's a lot of red mana. Sure. Do the land like we wanted. Just brought Johnny out there. Yeah, sorry I haven't been streaming the last couple days. It's basically been my finals week in school, so really haven't had the time to even look at Magic cards. Now gets access to a lot of mana here. Invoke the Defy. Sure. It must really not like Dawn of Hope. That said, this Vanguard's gonna run them down real quickly if they don't do something else here. Reads like Settle the Wreckage. Guessing they had Settle the Wreckage there. It's the only reason they wouldn't have conceded. Oh well. Certainly an interesting deck that Janshesvik put together so far. So what are you up today, Isabel? Kinda up early. I know a lot of people get up for work this time of day, so shouldn't be surprised. Normally I've been at work for 3 hours by now. Yeah, as I said at the start of the broadcast, I'm going to be changing some things up a little bit. Since my streams are so intermittent, I'm going to try to stream like 6 or 7 hours on my days off early in the mornings. And it helps me kind of keep on my work schedule. Also gives me some consistency to the stream, although it will vary by my days off. And then I'll be streaming on Wednesday evenings, just because that's like the one evening I can guarantee I'm usually not interrupted. So, this is a hand. Guess we keep it. Alright, so... it's really hard to go back and play Magic Online when you've been playing Magic Arena so much. Just the issues with Magic Online versus Arena. Arena is so much more fluid. So up against Pirates, maybe? Yeah, it feels like Pirates. Lazov, huh? Yeah, I figure I'd start with the with Janshesvik's deck, because I owed him the playing of his deck here. Sure. Interesting. Yeah, looks like we might get stuck on lands this game, which is probably going to lead to our loss here. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and scoop to that. This is very much a, alright. Opponent didn't want to play against what we were playing anyway. Yeah, I know, I've never actually played Duels with Planeswalkers, so I don't know how user-friendly or not it is. Yeah, this is definitely a deck that wants to be curving out 1, 2, 3. Sometimes even 4. Yeah, hand's pretty decent. This is one of those decks that definitely wants at least 3 lands probably in the opener. And just got even better. Sure, you have a Zealot. Certainly a deck that could be playing Ritual of Soot. Never mind. Opponent literally does not have any good blocks. Not gonna play out Resplendent Angel quite yet. minus Chupacabra. Probably kills Benelish Marshal. Sure. Not anymore, it's not going to be. How are you doing this morning, Space Marine? Decides to trade, take some damage. I figure I'm going to try something for a couple months, see how it goes. I'm going to try streaming the early mornings on my days off. You know, from like 6:30 till like noon, or 6 or 6:30 till like noon, 12:30, 1 o'clock. And then on Wednesday evenings, because those are like the guaranteed days I can stream pretty much without being disrupted. Opponent's got some stuff. Bring in a couple baffling ends. Don't really think this is a Lyra matchup. Maybe just bring in the third baffling end here. Yeah, don't have too much fun at work. I would normally be working right now myself, so. Hand's a little light on lands. I guess we'll keep it though. Because we've got Legion's Landing into Johnny's Pride Mate here, so. Sure, you have a Siren Storm Tamer. So, opponent's probably representing Essence Scatter here. Question is, which one of these two would I rather get Essence Scattered? Pride Mate probably has the higher upside. Vanguard's probably the harder one for them to kill, so I'll just run out Pride Mate. It's probably going to run into an Essence Scatter. Okay, it doesn't, so... Oh, wow. Good old Space Marine. Oh. Is that the first time you two have been in chat together since he started that awkward conversation? Oh, Hostage Shaker. Wonderful. Don't know that we're actually beating that combination of cards. Baffling End's 3 or less, isn't it? Yep. Guess we gotta keep pressuring them here. Yeah, I noticed. That's one of my few concerns after having played this list a little bit is the nature of the particular removal Janshevik's running in this list. Why is our opponent not casting, whatchamacallit yet? Alright, they don't have a counterspell, so I don't know what they're trying to represent here. Sure. I think you would want to do that after you're already pretty ahead on board, wouldn't you? I don't know. Just feels like you could wait a turn to cast that card. I honestly think, like, one of the few adjustments I'd make to the baseline list is, like, playing some number of Conclave Tribunal here. Ironically, I think I sack a Johnny here. Now I look like a bit of a genius. The only card left they can really use to kill this at this point is Vraska's Contempt. Am I pitching Baffling End or am I pitching Dawn of Hope? I guess Baffling End's the card we need to hold on to here. You have another artifact. That's going to make the game a little more difficult. Sure. Hope they get frisky with the hostage shaker here and we can kill them. They don't. It's unfortunate. What we can do, however, is force them to give back our angel. And really threaten to pressure them over the next couple turns. We'll be able to get something back. I guess they could get, not really sure which one they'll get back. Probably Hostage Shaker would be my guess. Yep. Hostage Shaker, take Vanguard. Makes winning a little more difficult. Yep, looks like they may have stabilized this game. stabilize against what we've got going on. Alright, so these baffling ends aren't quite as good as I thought they would be in this matchup. Let's get some Ixalan's bindings back in, although they are a bit expensive. Lyra's interesting, but it appears they have answers to like specifically powerful creatures, so I think we're just gonna stick with Ixalan's binding here. Yeah, sounds pretty reasonable. Not much to say about this morning, really, other than when it curves out and our opponent can't interact with what's going on, it's pretty good. Ideally, I'd want to play Marshall here, but longer these Proudmates are in play. Yeah, I'm thinking, like, there's a couple different directions this deck could go. I don't even know necessarily the deck wants more removal, just better removal. Like, Conclave Tribunal feels like it would be, like, the best removal spell in this style of deck. I think our opponent was hoping to double block here. This is definitely a synergy deck, and I think there's a couple directions you could go with it. You could play, there's a black-white version that's been floating around on Arena here and there. There's also a mono-white aggro deck that just did well in the PPTQ, or the PTQ online. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have Hostage Shaker here. That would be kind of miserable. Feels like, nope, Chupacabra. Also annoying. Fortunately, our answers are very inefficient, so even if our opponent happens to draw an answer off of our deck, they're in some trouble. It's interesting that they keep attacking with Thief of Sanity. That leads me to believe they might have another Chupacabra here. or they're desperate and they're fishing for something. Feels like more they might be desperate and fishing for something here. 5, 1 to 6. Do you have a Tezzeret? Alright, nope, just 2 answers. We successfully draw 2 lands. Thief of Sanity is definitely a card. We have no way of knowing what our, guess if we draw like our 1 Field of Ruin, we could get some idea of what our opponent's taken. So, thoughts on the deck overall. I like a lot of what the synergy and such is doing in the deck. I think the lower end here is pretty reasonable. Benlish Marshall obviously pretty reasonable too. Johnny's fine. Like, the early momentum of the deck is pretty good. I just think, like, those Ixalan's Bindings and maybe something else need to be Conclave Tribunals just to clear a blocker out of the way or to remove, like, a problematic permanent. I just think Binding's too expensive in a deck like this. And Tribunal will allow you to double spell much easier. Let me take a look at the mono-white decks that did well in the PTQ this past weekend. See what, like, kind of curve and stuff they're working with. Wait, weenie. So obviously not exactly the same, not exactly the same thing as what's going on with Janshesvik's list, but a lot of the same, like, similar, trying to be aggressive early. Pride of Conqueror is interesting. I honestly think Conclave Tribunal is kind of where you want to be. I think Venerated Luxodon could be interesting in the list, in place of, like, those Johnnies and such. Johnny does give you a bit more staying power, but I don't really know that staying power is what this deck is lacking. Feels like this is more of a straight weenie rush, get the game over with kind of deck. So Luxodon might be the better card in the main deck, like a Johnny in the sideboard with some of the other grindy things. Yeah, just really feels like you want Tribunal and Luxodon in the main deck, and like the Dawn of Hope and the Johnny feel more like sideboard cards. But that's just one thought process. I really think like this early portion of the deck here is pretty good. Resplendent Angel, definitely very powerful, but I think in a deck that's already dealing with a lot of you already have a lot of incidental life gain in the deck. You have Healer's Hawk, you have Leonin Vanguard, Legion's Landing, Fountain of Renewal, even potentially leaving Dawn of Hope in the main deck. I honestly wonder if these like Resplendent Angels shouldn't be History of Benelias, and like these 5 cards shouldn't be some number of Luxodon, Venerated Luxodons, and Conclave Tribunals. I don't know. Like, this Lyra feels kind of random in a 23 land deck. These Ajani's are fine, but I think they're more of a grinding card. Although, when you get to curve out 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop Ajani, it's pretty nice. So I don't know necessarily if these have to go, but this Lyra could probably, in these 2 bindings, should probably be like 3 Conclave Tribunal, if you just want to make like a minimum switch to the list. And then beyond that, obviously you could like slot in some number of Venerated Luxodons and the Tribunals for like these 5 and maybe like these 2 into the sideboard. I honestly think these Cleansing Nova should probably be Settle the Wreckage, considering you're a weenie deck that doesn't really want to sweep its own creatures. And then beyond that, I mean, the sideboard's just whatever you want to make of it for the slots you want to beat with mono whites and artifact-based cards. So, it's kind of my thoughts on the deck initially. Obviously, I have to play the deck more. But, I mean, the early rush aspect of the deck seems pretty good. It's just a matter of finishing those last, like, little 2 or 3 slots to try to finish off the opponent before they can stabilize. That's all my only thoughts on the deck so far. With that, I'm going to go ahead and take a couple minutes and switch over to Golgari Midrange. It's one of the few top-end decks in Standard I haven't played a lot with yet, so it's going to be the next deck I'm streaming with here in a few minutes. So, that, I'm going to sign off the stream here. Eastville, if you're still hanging out, I'll be back in a few minutes. Otherwise, hope everyone has a good day, and when you're seeing this video later, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. This has been Dusk for Dusk to Dawn Gaming.